What they gotta do? What?
Welcome back. It's your boy, Japanese Tutor, and here I'm back at it again. This time it's going to be a little bit different. Today we're going to go over some opening systems and a little treat for you guys. I do game analysis as well. If you learn something from this video, consider giving us a like and subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for all the support. We're almost at 100 subs. We're there, we're like this close. So just hit that like button down below. Leave a comment if you have any questions. So we're gonna go over the Albin counter gambit for a little bit. We're following Jeremy Silman's book. It's called The Complete Strategy, A to Z of chess. So let's get right into it. So this is one of those systems, the Albin counter gambit. D4, D5, C4, E5, D captures E5, D4. Where black tries to grab the initiative by sacrificing a pawn for some central space and an easy development. So for those of you who don't like to play like Queen's Gambit positions, you can consider this gambit. Never considered to be completely sound. Gary Fine, thank you for the bits. Thank you so much. It's never considered to be completely sound, and the positions are nevertheless sharp and interesting. And after knight f3, knight c6, g3. Also, you can play knight bd2 here. White will castle with bishop g2 and castles, and black will castle queenside with bishop e6. Or you can also play bishop g4 if you want. Depends on your choice. I think bishop e6 is a little bit reserved. But both moves are okay. They're attacking, keeping an eye on the c pawn because you already played g3. So the bishop is coming over here, so there has to be a defender of this pawn. A race to attack the enemy king with white playing a2, a3. Gonna push the pawn over here with b4 as well. And black playing on this side, which this. Oh my god, there's so much happening. Thank you so much for all the bits. Thank you guys. It was like I just heard ping, 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 ping. Thank you guys for all the bits. I really appreciate the love and face chess. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for coming in again. And we just started our lesson, so welcome. So that's the plan in this opening. Thank you again. It's like psh, 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 rain in bits. It's raining bits. That was a really good thing to go over because sometimes you just don't know the plan of the opening. You've heard of the opening, but you don't know the major plans. Thank you so much for cheering. Oh man, it's just like cheer, 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 cheer. I'm flattered. Thank you so much. And this is the Alekhine's defense. We're gonna go over that. And it kind of goes over all the openings in brief detail. So this is kind of like just to get an idea of what the openings are, so that you can try to pick apart and see some transpositions that you can do in your games. So let's go over the Alekhine defense. And if you don't know the Alekhine defense, or some people say Alekhine or Alekhine, we'll stick with Alekhine. I like saying Alekhine. So it's popularized by the great Alexander Alekhine, but analyzed as early as so it was popularized in 1921, but it was known as soon as like 1819. The Alekhine defense is a hyper-modern opening in every sense of the word. Black immediate attack against the e4, right? Pew! Ignores the general wisdom that recommends building a strong pawn center. Instead, black is willing to lose time in an effort to make the white pawns come down the board. And are these advanced pawns strong or are they weak? And white has one opinion while black has another. Black says, hey, your pawns are super weak. they're in my face. I'm gonna attack them because they're too far out. And white's like, no, I got so much space. I'm gonna attack them when I want to. I'm gonna attack with them when I want to. Um, so after usually e5, not d5, d4, d6 attacking here. And they said nibbling at white center because we want to kind of destroy his pawn structure. The first player, which is white, usually chooses between two different setups, though several other choices are possible. So here he gives the question, is this pawn center weak already or is it not? White can grab the whole center by playing c4, knight b6, f4. Though black's pressure against these pawns after d captures e5, f captures e5, knight c6, bishop e3, bishop f5, knight c3, and e6, followed by bishop e7 and castles. And f6 seemed to guarantee black an equal game. Aoyokin. This defense costed me one of my tournaments, and I'm sorry to hear that. Good game for the cheers, definitely. He was just dropping them cheers. Pang, 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 pang. Okay, so they also gave on move 4 that after knight b6, you can play knight f3, bishop g4. Also popular here is g6. Okay, but bishop g4, bishop e2, e6, and castles. Followed by maybe here, and white's center pawns makes black's life very difficult. Interesting. I think it was in this position. 1, 2, 3, bam. You can even play something like that. But I like to play this position like this, and then play like knight c3 or takes immediately. Takes immediately and see which way they want to take. If they take this way, you kind of know that they want to kind of fianchetto here. So maybe like here, here, and put the bishop along this line and fight against this bishop. If they play this, then you know either you want to play a different setup. Maybe play like bishop d3 here, here, and bring my bishop maybe somewhere along this line. So kind of interesting system, definitely. Okay. I think for people who know lesser theory, e captures d6 is important. Definitely e captures d6 is important. So you have to kind of know which way to take. So e captures d6, they have two different plans, c captures d6 and e captures d6. C captures d6 is a little less, they don't really play that as much as I think e captures d6. I think e captures d6 is the main move, but you can play both. And Boruto fan, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's go back. So now we're going to go through the Benko Gambit. Though placed on occasion in a slightly different form in the 1930s, and actually, you know what? Before I start this Benko Gambit, I'm going to change the title to Opening Prep, because that's exactly what we're doing. Let's go in. So this gambit was not really appreciated as a positional weapon until Grandmaster Paul Benko's employment of it in the early 1970s. Later champions of this line were American Grandmaster Walter Brown and John, I'm going to butcher this name, Fedorowicz. Yeah, I'm sorry. Really bad. The sacrifice on move 3. Okay, so let's go. D4, knight f6, c4, c5, d4, b5. And I really like playing this kind of lines as well. I haven't played it in a while. but it's always a very, very interesting play for both sides. It seems odd at first, but black happily parts with a pawn so that he can open the A file and B file for his rooks. This will lead to a powerful and long-lasting queenside initiative, and not all white players are happy to defend from such an early juncture. Though various methods of declining the gambit have been tried, knight f3 is quite common. The most challenging continuation has to be c captures and then a6. And a6 dares white to eat the pawn and open up the two files, these two files right here. It opens up the files for black. Aside from the sharp and popular f3. So I think we have to go f3, a captures b5, and then e4, which creates immediate threats in the center. White tries, so instead of f3, white tries b6 sometimes. This prevents the opening of the a file and gives black far less counterplay than he normally acquires. Queen captures b6, knight c3, d6. Although I really have a nice diagonal, so definitely my bishop is coming this way, right? Because all my pawns are here, and they control all of these squares, right? So definitely this is where my bishop needs to be. This bishop is not blocked in, so I can definitely come over here, maybe get some lines this way as well. So I like this position a lot. And they say that after d6, e4, they say that the immediate knight f3, g6, knight d2. Oops. Okay, so let's go back. 7 on e4. Oh, are they going back with the knight? e4. So they say instead of e4, they say that knight f3, g6, knight d2. That's weird. It's also possible. And the position after e4 has proven bothersome to many Benko Gambit players. White starts his central play while also eyeing the c4 square as home for a knight. So we're looking over here. So boom, boom, and then we want to play a knight here. So maybe after e4, we can put our knight here. Maybe b3 solidifies a knight. So that's an interesting idea, actually, because this square is very weak and it can't be protected by a pawn. This pawn no longer exists on the b file, and this pawn is kind of trapped by this pawn, and this is protecting it. So it'll always take the cover if he tries to play e6. So that's a very interesting idea. If a knight does reach this post, a timely a2, a4, a5, white control of b6 also. So this, if I do this, then it kind of gives white control of b6 as well because I have to leave the square. Black's counterplay usually comes from the pressure on the b file and or a possible central blow by e7, e6. In some lines, you can actually give away a pawn to open up the center. So that you take and they don't take back. You can sacrifice a pawn, throw a pawn at them, and this is common also in the Benoni defense to open up the center. Okay, and let's see. Let's go back to another way is after a6 you can capture. Bishop captures, eyeing down this diagonal. Knight c3 and d6 gives white an extra pawn and play in the center via e2, e4 and f2, f4. But black's counterplay on the a file and b file must not be underestimated. The one reason that this opening is popular on the amateur level is that black's moves are easy to play. g7, g6, bishop g7. So all you're going to do is g7, g6, bishop g7, castles. And then knight bd7. Very easy to play, and something just happened. Kenny's, thank you so much for following. I really appreciate it, and welcome to the Chess Master in Training. And thank you all for being here and watching this lesson. And yeah, Gary, it's a very. This is a Benko, but also the Benonis have some similarities with it, which is interesting because sometimes something you learn from another opening can be applied into a similar opening, and you just have to look out for it. It happens a lot. Like sometimes I play, let's say, a Sicilian, but there are some ideas that come up from the King's Indian attack, or King's Indian defense rather, that are prevalent there. So maybe you can take some ideas and kind of shift them over, or like a modern, and then maybe you play c5, and that resembles the structure. Um, Gary Fang, I find it hard sometimes to play the Benoni. I think everybody finds the Benoni hard to play. I don't think you're alone there. But I like messy positions. Yeah, the B farm. Yeah, exactly. So one reason that this is popular, right? So you play Rook FB8, and then you play this Rook. After this Rook is castled, then you play this Rook all the way over here, and then you have all these moves. And this is the fully accepted line. So you got to be careful because black has very easy play. You already know what you're going to do as black. It's up to you as a white player saying, hey, I have an extra pawn. Right? And actually, my motto with white is when black gives you a pawn in the opening, take it. Make them prove that they have something. Now you can always give it back, but make them prove that what they're doing is actually right. Another bonus is that even an exchange of queens leaves black with strong pressure. Take the queens off the board, and we'll still have a lot of pressure. So like let's say like we just get into the ideal setup. Let me just make some random non-moves. Like just to get into an ideal setting, right? Like, and let's take off the queens. Okay. Right, you take off the queens, the material is even. Well, of course, white's not going to develop like this. The material is even, but it seems like black has a lot of play with the bishops and stuff like that. Now, of course, it's not going to transpire like this, but one can imagine that if we trade off queens, that is usually better in a Benko gambit. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Lord the Hackfish, welcome. And thank you for the JT spam. Let's see if we can get a combo. But Lord, tonight is not my night for just so many losses. There's a Ben Fango game. Basically, it was an advanced Carol Khan with c5 in it as well. There's a closed pawn structure, and he played b5 and took over the a5 and brought the hammer down. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point. Sometimes you take themes or ideas from other opening and say, hey, this looks just like it. Let's just play it. Hey, you hate learning? I'm trying to get a combo here, guys. Let's go. I'm trying to get a combo of the JT chess. Let's do this. Come on, combo it with me. By the time I reach the peak of my chess career, I would probably still be learning chess. Nope. I think everybody's still learning chess. Like no matter how strong you are, I think you're still learning chess. Gary fan, come on. Give me a combo. Give me a combo. All right. Now we're gonna go into the Bogo Indian defense. Yes. Yeah, I know. So lose to people when you know you can easily beat even the best players in the world. So have to work out a lot of complicated positions. Yeah, um, that is so true. Like even like when you're 2700, you can still get beat out of the opening. You know, you can still get beat out of the middle game. Like chess is amazing because it's so simple, but yet so difficult because the simplest things are difficult. Um, okay, so the Bogo Indian defense. This opening mixes aspects of the Nimzo Indian and the Queen's Indian. The check. Let's see. So after d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, bishop b4 check. Not only develops a piece, so the check not only develops a piece, but it also forces white to make a tough decision. How should he get his king out of danger? Knight c3 leads into the Nimzo Indian after knight f3. Okay, and white usually chooses another move, so bishop d2 or knight bd2. And so we're going to take a look at both. So after bishop d2, black can play in simple fashion with bishop catches d2 check, queen captures d2, d5. We get a queen's gambit decline with dark squared bishop traded off. This tends to be slightly better for white due to his advantage in space and the fact that black's remaining bishop is inferior to white's. However, black's position is very solid and some defensive players feel quite comfortable playing in this fashion. The black strategy is based off of the fact that the crown position is often eased by exchange of a few pieces. And this actually justifies you taking on d2, saying, hey, I know I'm going to get into a crown position. Let me just trade it off first. That way I have some more space to maneuver my pieces. For those looking for a richer game than the immediate exchange offers, black has a luxury of choosing among three very how would you say, like, rich positions. So let's go back. So bishop d2, you can play a5. Oops, not that. Let's play bishop d2. Play a5. So a5 here is actually the move that I play. I think it's just, you open up the rook if they take, and then you have some pressure here and here. That's what I like to do. And black hopes for bishop captures b4. When a captures b4, the a file is open for black's rook, and the c3 square has been taken from the white knight. So this is a natural square for the knight. And if you can take it away, that's amazing. Now he has to go here and has to like maneuver around instead of being here and having open access to the center. If white doesn't take on b4, black will castle and grab a bit of the center by d7, d5 with an interesting game. Maybe sometimes even after this, you don't have to take. Sometimes you can even play here, but taking is also good. You can also play bishop f8, but here's probably you can do so much in this position. Basically, I've seen all moves. Even bishop d6 here is all right. Let's look at another move. So here, and then you can play here, and then you can play c5. So once a favorite of Russian Grandmaster Viktor Korchnoi nips at the white center and anticipates bishop catches b4 with c captures b4. If you do that, now once again the c3 square is taken away from the knight. And an intense fight then begins with white's superior pawn structure and the central preponderance of the pawn, and versus black's goal of grabbing the c5 square with castles d6. So we're going to play castles, we're going to play d6, and we're going to play queen to e7, maybe followed by e5. When a d4, d5 advance, and then we can put our knight on c5 after he pushes the d4. And these are all plans that we should kind of like understand. We're not looking to memorize here. We're just kind of looking for understanding. And once you understand something, that means that you can apply it into your games. If you memorize, it's just like, okay, I know to make this move after this move. But then you get confused when they don't play the exact moves that you're looking for. All right. You can also play queen e7 after bishop d2. I've seen this move a lot, actually. And this is black's most popular choice. With this move, it defends the bishop and places the queen on a flexible square. And the main line goes g3, knight c6, bishop g2, bishop captures g2. It forces white to capture with the knight, because if queen captures, then we have knight e4, queen c2, queen b4 is unpleasant. Okay, what is a combo? Because 2700 his endgames against Magnus. Suspicious. Well, if you are new here and don't know how to play endgames well, go to my YouTube channel. I have like 20 episodes. I have 18 episodes on the pawn endgame. It's like college, yeah. So yeah, I'm following it. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm following it, and then I'm kind of explaining my things on top of that. So let's go back into it. So it kind of forces him to take with the knight. E4. Oh, actually, okay. So knight catches bd2, d6, e4, d6, e4, e5, d5. Now this structure comes a lot from the King's Indian, right? Where you can play here, here, and then regroup. Maybe play like maybe castle first, knight f8, and then f4, and where you have a lot of play on this side. So this is a well-known thing. Also, another plan is to play here, a5, and then play here as well. WSK, that is a benefit for tier 3 subs, and you can just submit games by either whispering me or coming into the Discord. Right, so the plan is because you want to make a knight outpost, right? So let me give you a thing. So he is attacking your knight. Let's get out of there. Let's castle. Just play a5. The reason you play a5 is because you notice if your knight goes here, then they can play b4. So take the square first, and it's a space gaining move. So you might even play here at one point. Let's say you play a3. If they play a3 with the purpose of playing b4, in some cases you could even play a4 to prevent this break. Now, if they play here, you take and take, or let's say queen takes, and now your knight can always come here, and you have a great square for your knight. So that's one of the really like rich ideas that you have in this position. I really like a5 being played before you do anything else, because you want to kind of stop this b4 idea. Okay, and let's go back. So bishop d, knight bd2. Okay, so instead of playing here, he can also play knight bd2. And that play is to gain the two bishops. Black's most common reply are d5 and then e3, protecting against this. And you do not want to take this. You don't want to take this until they move their bishop, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say they make a move. Let's say they make this move. Oh, it's a black's move. Okay, let's say they castle, right? And now they move their bishop. Takes. Right? Now it's your move. Right? Let's go back. Let's say you take first. Bishop takes. Castles. Now it's their move. Right? So you win a tempo. It may not seem like a big deal, but now you can make another move. And those are the little nuances that you kind of want to go for. So d5, e3, a3, and bishop e7. So after e3, e3 castles, a3, bishop e7. Retaining the bishop, but allowing white to expand on the queen side with b4. Right, so you can play b4, and they're trying to have a queen side expansion. Possibly play like this and build a solid structure, bringing their other rook over here, because that's where they have play. Let's see. So b5, b4. b6. So you can play like this. Or let's say they play, instead of d5, you can play b6 here as well. And now if a3, bishop catches d2, catches on d2, bishop b7. When black's control over the e4 square, it gives them compensation for the loss of the bishop pair. Now, there's a saying in chess that in d4 openings, if white does not play g3, bishop g2, that you should do so. And in this case, it's really good because now you have a lot of control over this square and this square. Some plans might even include the knight coming here and playing c5 after rook c8. And if you can take here, now your knight has a very nice outpost, similar to the ones that we were discussing before. If you want your games analyzed, and we can talk about that, just give me a whisper, and we can talk about it. Hi, do I have a FIDE or USCF ELO? So I don't have a FIDE. My USCF ELO is it is 1860. Granted, I haven't played in tournaments in 2 years, so I don't know if I'm weaker or stronger than that rating, but I've dedicated my life to chess coaching and teaching chess. Is a5 better to prevent b4 than be able to play a5 after b4? I like to play a5 to prevent b4 because I just want my knight to get to c5 in certain situations. Also, it's a great space gaining move on the queen side. You don't know what white's intentions are, so it's a multi-purpose move. So that's why I like to play it. And especially if they play like a3, then I'm going to play a4, weakening the b3 squares and giving him a backwards pawn. If that makes sense, Barry. And Kenzie's, welcome, welcome. Okay, let's okay, so this is the boring opening. Boring opening. This line is an excellent way for amateurs who have limited study time to meet Black's King's Indian defense. Easy to learn, and it's also solid and aggressive at the same time. So for my students who don't have a lot of study time, I recommend them that they play the check perk and they play the Kali system for white. It's a very easy setup. I don't like the London system so much. I like the Kali. The Kali has a lot of attacking chances for me. But let's see what the boring opening is. So d4, knight f6, knight f3, g6. This is when they're playing an Indian system. Or the Indians. Here. Bishop f4, bishop g7, e3. Now Magnus doesn't like this move. He doesn't play it a lot in his games. He rather play here, and he doesn't seem to play here very often in most of his games. But we're just gonna go through the text. E3, and white will answer with knight h5 and bishop e5. As soon as black stops this possibility with d7, d6. Right, so maybe you're gonna play here first. If you play here, they're gonna meet it with that. So, right, so if you play knight h5, they're gonna meet it with bishop e5. So you want to play maybe d6 first. There's even lines where you play h6 and d6, and then you play knight h5. But then they can just make a little hole to retreat in, and they can come back. White will give his bishop a safe place to run by h2, h3. Okay, he said that. So let's do castles. And bishop e2. The correct place for this bishop, the seemingly more aggressive bishop d3 will eventually run into problems after black plays d7, d6, and e7, e5, when the later e5, e4, right? So d6, and then he's going to play this move, and you might run into trouble because they have like this e4 forking. This fort won't exist if you keep your bishop on e2, d6, threatening now playing here. You can just play h3, gonna come back. When black will play for a share of the center with either c5 here or e7, e5. Very boring opening. It restricts the enemy counterplay, and it shows they're gonna give some examples of correct play for both of black's plans. So black's plans, there are two major plans here. Playing 75 or playing c5 right away. I like c5 because you want the scope of this bishop to be active here, right? So I like c5. Some people prefer playing like this and then playing e5 after. So like let's say c4, sometimes rook e8, but you can play e5 here actually. Bishop h2, and then I can play like to capture c5, or there are some ideas that you can play like knight e4 and have a solid structure here. If the castle, maybe b6, controlling the light squares. Okay, and that's one of black's plans, and the other one is just the immediate c5 break. Can I go over some English opening systems? This is just what makes sense, but this is just hard to play for an advantage as white, I think. h3 makes no sense if black doesn't go c5 or knight h5, in my opinion. I don't care what Magnus thinks. I mean, Magnus is a world champion, right? So you got to give him some credit there. He plays the London system without playing e3 a lot of the time. Next one is one of my favorite openings. And Bin, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, so the next one is the Botvinnik formation. So this is more of a structure rather than an opening. Okay, so this is the structure. Oops. All right, we're gonna go here, and I think we're good. Oh, the knight here. So this was originally popularized by the great Russian world champion Mikhail Botvinnik. This setup has become popular in the amateur ranks as it is an easy to understand system against almost anything. White's goal, and black can also make use of the setup against several openings, is to play his pawns on e4 and c4, his knights on c3 and e2, the bishop on g2, and white's game with his development complete. Okay. White's control over d5 mixed with possibilities of queenside expansion by b2, b4, b5, and its kingside expansion by f2, f4, f5. Make an appealing picture. One flaw is the weakness of the d4 square. Black should arrange his pieces to take advantage of the fact. The following move order shows how this formation is achieved from both sides of the board. Okay. So c4, c5. knight c3, and this is basically a symmetrical opening. Oops. Let's go back. Not this. They play g3 in the system. e4, knight f6, knight g2. White never wants to place his knight on f3 while adopting the system. The knight on e2, the knight is immune from a bishop g4 pin, since f2, f3 blocks the bishop. Placing the knight on e2 also keeps the f pawn free, allowing his king side expansion by f2, f4, f5. So castles, d6, d3, knight e8. And the horse is going, the knight is going to a better place, maybe like this. And if you would have watched my videos on the stone wall, it looks like a stone wall, but kind of just placed this way. And we know that the most appropriate way to control a square, to dominate the square, is kind of use something called the Yui maneuver, where you place knights on c6 and e6 to control the d4 square in some lines. This is an important idea for black. This knight was no longer doing much on f6, so it heads for d4 via knight f6, e8, c7, e6, d4. This maneuver also frees black's f-pawn and allows the second player to enter f4 with f5. Play might continue like this. Queen d2, knight c7, f4, and f5. When knight e6 will give black solid control over d4. And as a result, a good game. Okay. And here we are going to stop. And that's enough for the openings for right now. When we do start up with this series again, we're going to do the Budapest Gambit. So thank you for sticking through this. I know that there was a lot of information there. So congratulations, you guys are amazing students for coming this far. So give yourself a round of applause. If you like what I'm doing here and you learned something, give the video a like and subscribe. For now, this is Japanese Tutor. I'm out.